The first round of voting for the DC Comics Round Robin 2022 tournament is over. We've had several losers so far. Wildcats 9 Lives, The Question's Grand Solution, Justice League Redacted, Firestorm Fourth World Problems, Black Canary When Canaries Cry, Animal Man Metamorphosis, Captain Carrot, Cyborg, and Cybergod all fell in the very first round of the tournament. And for the second round, DC Comics is giving us a bit more information, a little clarification on what these stories actually are by providing the creative teams as well as a more full-up synopsis or pitch for the actual comic book. The devil is in the detail, folks, because one of the comics that was originally proposed, Ghost Horror, I was like, yeah, that sounds like it's really fun. Now that I see the creative team, I say absolutely not. I would never read that book. It's going to be absolutely awful just because of the creative team involved. There's another book that I said, well, I like Green Lantern. This isn't really the pitch that I was really wanting. Now that we see the creative team, the writer and the artist on it, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like it'll do just fine, and I hope it actually wins. So let's get through the newest matchups with the newest information that we have. The devil's in the details, and we'll find out why Ghost Tour sounds so terrible now. Let's get to the very first matchup. Hawkman and Hawkwoman, The Changeling by Kevin Scott and artist Fico Ossio. Kevin Scott is a pretty well-known property within comic books right now. He recently did Titans United for DC Comics, also doing a lot of the Star Wars High Republic stuff. As far as Titans United, it was good. It wasn't great or anything like that, but it was certainly a serviceable comic book. The artist, Fico Ossio, has been recently doing No One Left to Fight, as well as they've done some past work with Marvel and Marvel Action Spider-Man. Imagine Hawkman brooding on the sword ship, suddenly realizes that Hector is staring at him, not moving, not even blinking. And yet all the time, Hector is acting like an enthusiastic teen when he's with Hawkwoman, who is as accepting as Hawkman is distrustful. There will be moments when Hawkman lets his guard down, and the family starts to come together, only to have events turn against them. I'm going to be honest. I really like Hawkman. I like Hawkwoman. This doesn't move me, but I want to see more Hawkman and Hawkwoman, so I'm going to stick with it, despite the pitch itself. Whatever. That is being matched up against Constantine and the Demon Vacation from Hell from Frank Allen and artist Nick Varela. I don't think Frank Allen's really done almost any comic book writing, certainly not the big two. Didn't see a whole lot of work by Nick Varela either. I don't really know what she's all about, but here is their pitch. John Constantine's deceptive nature catches up with him when he is caught cheating by a mysterious individual at a Mystics poker game after being interrupted by a talking corpse with the cryptic message demanding Constantine return home. John is punished for his sins. Soon a magically nerfed Constantine is on a plane traveling to his home city of Liverpool with Etrigan the Demon in his body, uninvited. On arrival, John and Etrigan meet up with the voice of the corpse. The pair are then tasked with locating and safeguarding a child who has come into possession of an evil parasitic artifact of immense power. Certainly not the most original story idea where you have kind of characters being melded up together and kind of not wanting to do it, but in the end they have to come to some kind of upper understanding and good win out in the end. Very, very generic a pitch right there. Like I said, I know nothing about the writer Frank Allen or the artist really for the most part. I will stick with my Hawkman and Hawkwoman vote because those are the characters I really like. Although Constantine and the Demon is absolutely waylaying Hawkman and Hawkwoman, at least on Twitter right now. And if you want to vote, you got to go to Twitter, Instagram, or DC Infinite Universe to cast your vote. If you already voted the first round, get in there and vote for the second round as well. Let's get up to the next matchup, and this is where things change a lot based on the creative teams. Green Light, The Light at the End of Forever by writer Spurrier and artist Marco Santucci. Spurrier is a known commodity, does a lot of good work. Marco Santucci, you may remember him as being the artist on Shazam with Jeff Johns. He was also the other artist working on Jeff Thorne's Green Lantern book that wasn't Tom Rainey. So he was the good artist. A million years from now, a galaxy convulsed by violence where godlike emperors wield unthinkable power and wage pitiless interstellar war. Hear the ancient echoes of our heroic age, our DCU, lie fossilized, rendered as myth or forgotten entirely, but not by the madman. An elderly farmer in a backwater system brutalized by the latest thugs with jetpacks and jackboots to call themselves lawmen. He remembers. As his broken skull is patched up, he suddenly remembers it all. An era of champions, a time of truth and justice, a cadre of peacekeepers dedicated to prosperity, fairness, and light. The Green Lantern Corps. He remembers because he was one. His name, he's sure of it, is John Stewart. This is easily the strongest creative pairing on here. Marco Santucci. There's another artist in here that's close, but I think he's the best artist. Spurrier is easily, without a question, the best writer in here. It's not even in doubt. I thought the original pitch for this was perfectly fine. We'll see that. It's a little bit too close to what Jet Thorne was doing. But now that I see the creators on it, I say absolutely. This is the one that I want to win. My heart's with the Hawkman series, but I'm not feeling Kevin Scott. But this one here I think will be fantastic. And the comic that it's going against, which I thought sounded like it had a lot of promise, absolutely has no promise now. DC Horror presents Ghost Tour from Hell by writer T. Franklin, who you may remember from Harley Quinn Eat, Bang, Kill Tour, and artist Dominique Domo Stanton, who has worked on Sandman Universe, Starbrand, and Night Mask, and some other projects. Not a very high-profile or good artist, to be completely honest. After needing a change of scenery, Madame Xanadu relocates to New Orleans, Louisiana from New York and opens a new shop. The grand opening of Madame Xanadu's Occult Curiosities went a bit better than expected. Running a magic shop in New York is vastly different from running one in New Orleans, especially when you only take select walk-ins. While ushering the last customers out of the shop, Madame Xanadu senses something is coming, or perhaps it's already here. A stranger walks into the shop and begs Madame Xanadu for her help. A distraught mother believes that something evil has happened to her child. She explains that her son and his college friends went on a ghost tour and have been missing for days. This sounded like a perfectly good idea when it was pitched initially, but now that I see old T. Franklin associated with it, absolutely not. This is one of the premier terrible writers in all of comic books. I don't care if they put Gary Frank on the fucking book. T. Franklin is no bueno, and it sounds like people agree with me now that that little detail has been put in there, because that Green Lantern book is absolutely beating the shit out of the Ghost Tour pitch, which I thought sounded actually like a lot of fun until you got T. Franklin. Let's get to the next matchup. Suicide Squad Dark by writer Zach Thompson, who you may remember from Marvelous X-Men during Age of X-Men event, Bloodshot Rising Spirit, and artist Gary Brown. I'm not particularly high on either of these. Although Zach Thompson has had a few high moments in his career, normally he works with Lonnie Nadler. Meet the occult task force of Earth-13. Field leader Vampire Batman commands a top-secret team of murderers, monsters, and demons. The magic-dampening parasites hooked into their brains keep them following orders, and the promise of freedom keeps them motivated. Thanks to the mysterious benefactor known as Milton, Amanda Waller has built the ultimate squad on another Earth. She handpicked a deranged team to topple the supernatural world of sorcery and permanent twilight. Yes, she's going to do the unthinkable. She's going to eliminate the League of Shadows. But to what end? If you want to see something that is absolutely unreadable, go check out Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler's Bloodshot Rising Spirit. That thing was an abomination. I think they left it after 5 issues, and then 2 writers came in before the damn thing ended. I think at issue number 10, and what a mess that thing was. This is another pitch that I was absolutely on board for, just because I thought the premise itself sounded pretty good. But you throw old Zach Thompson on there, you're starting to make me go, probably not. Then you throw Gary Brown, who had some of the worst art I've ever seen in an X-Men book last year, and we're at a never-ever territory. That was going against Kid Flash, The Speed of Fear, writer Brandon Easton, who you may remember from Mr. Miracle, Swords of Freedom, and artist Travis Mercer, who's had some random work on a couple of anthologies from DC, but nothing really big time. Kid Flash, Wallace West, suddenly finds himself torn from the surface of the Earth in a cosmic storm caused by a tear in the Speed Force. As he investigates, Kid Flash learns that Reverse Flash has merged with the dangerous entity Parallax, an entity composed of fear energy that powers the yellow rings of the Sinestro Core. Their unholy combination crafts the unprecedented Speed Ring, which can generate enough interdimensional velocity to shatter the central battery of the Green Lantern Corps on Oa. Somehow, Kid Flash has been caught up in the vortex of the creation of the Speed Ring, which destabilizes the walls of the multiverse. Now, Kid Flash must pursue the hyper-powered Reverse Flash across a variety of alien worlds devastated by the Speed Ring and find a way to stop him and dangerous members of the Sinestro Corps who will do whatever it takes to destroy the Green Lantern's central battery. Brandon Easton is a perfectly fine writer. He's not like upper echelon or anything like that, but he doesn't embarrass himself all that often. So perfectly fine for what they're trying to do here. Don't really know anything about artist Travis Mercer's work. I think he's done some covers and stuff like that, but hasn't done a whole lot of interior work in the past. This will likely be considered a big break for Travis Mercer if this thing goes through. And it certainly looks like it will, because Kid Flash it's just barely squeaking out over Suicide Squad Dark, but it is in the lead, at least according to Twitter. And I'm definitely on board with that, knowing that Zach Thompson is on that Suicide Squad Dark project. And Suicide Squad Dark actually sounds like a really cool idea. I just don't think he's a good creator. This might be a Tim Seeley-like situation with Robins last year. You might have the wrong creator on a project everyone would like to read. Now let's get to the very last matchup. Green Lantern, Birth of Conspiracy by writer Scott Bryan Wilson. The only thing I know of his that he's really done is Pennyworth, and artist Skylar Partridge from the series Resonant and Vault. It's 1947, and Alan Scott is part of a new breed of humans endowed with the power of gods, but he still has to work a day job, protect his personal secrets from the public, and hide his civilian identity from the government agency formed to monitor superhero activity. When he finds himself at the site of 3 UFO incursions, the famous Men in Black, and flying saucer sightings, and the Roswell crash, he realizes that he could lose everything. Now as Green Lantern, imprisoned and alone on an alien planet, used as a conduit to harvest the power of the green flame, he may have to rely on 3 low-level government functionaries whose job it is to spy on him. The name on here I'm most interested in is Skylar Partridge. I think they did some work with Wonder Woman in the past, but the best thing they've done, in my opinion, is Resonant from Vault Comics. If you have not read that book, there are 2 volumes out. I believe Skylar Partridge illustrates the 2nd volume, and it is brilliant. Don't know that art style really works for Green Lantern. I like a nice, slick, clean artist on Green Lantern. I don't think Skylar Partridge's normal art style really works with Green Lantern particularly, but perhaps this story will be different. Writer Bryant Scott Wilson, I read the first issue of Pennyworth and I said, ugh, whatever. And I didn't go back for more. But this is very odd in that writer's career. I don't think they've done a whole lot of comic books, so we shall see. Obviously, DC has some faith in them, but they are up against a juggernaut in the name of Superboy, The Man of Tomorrow by writer Kenny Porter, who's done some work on a Superman digital first comic, but not much else, and artist Janoy Lindsay, who back in the day worked on some Luke Cage and She-Hulk work. Connor Kent is back, but this isn't the DC universe he knows. With Jonathan, Kara, and Clark protecting the Earth, Connor feels like an outsider more than ever. Living on the Kent farm, he dreams of one day finally finding his place in the universe and purpose as Superboy. When Connor intercepts a distress signal from across the galaxy, he heads to the stars to lend a helping hand, but his journey is cut short when he finds himself caught in an intergalactic battle between Dominator warlords and a group of renegade space rebels called the Cosmoteers. Superboy is currently besting that Green Lantern series, and I'm in support of that. I don't really know much about the writer on either book. I did not read Kenny Porter's Superman digital first book. I do like the artist, obviously, on the Green Lantern book more, but we don't get enough Connor Kent. The character deserves more love, and I'm in support of this. And there are certainly 2 other projects that are still in the running that feature Green Lantern and Green Lantern lore very heavily. So I say let's go with Superboy here, and it looks like that's probably going to be the case. Like I said, if you have not voted, make sure that you get over to Twitter. Make sure you get over to Instagram or DC Infinite Universe and vote for your favorites. If your favorite doesn't win and you didn't vote, well, that was on you. It wasn't on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm rooting. My heart's rooting for the Hawkman, but my mind is rooting for that Green Lantern book from Cy Spurrier, Marco Santucci. That thing is going to look like $1 million. It's going to read really well. Sounds a lot more interesting with Cy Spurrier attached to it. Please, for the love of God, can we just have no more T. Franklin and any comic book publishers that matter? Some of you may be asking, Wes, what's wrong with T. Franklin? Why do you find her work so bad? Well, that's a good question. You need to watch this video where I review one of the worst comics I've ever read, Harley Quinn Eat, Kill, Bang Tour. If you haven't seen this, check it out, and you'll agree with me that T. Franklin shouldn't be anywhere near DC or Marvel.